You're saying you dropped the guy into the time vortex? The same thing you did the first time you killed him, which he not only survived, but the energy of which is what made him evolve into his godly form in the first place. But dragging him through the death sand in the time vortex caused him to kill the deaths that he caused. That was how we brought everything back to life. I figured out if he collided with it in that state, he would unmake himself, and he did. I've told you about repeating gags. Did you at least see what happened to the bozo? Yes, he turned to dust when he collided with the vortex. Dust? You mean like the same dust he used to destroy everything, okay? Yeah, I'm seeing how that could be a loophole now. That is one of the most complicated seasons finals I've ever had to sit through, and it still didn't work. The most complicated what? Forget it. I already have a headache without explaining. Okay, so much for the survival of death. Now for the survival of us, the making and breaking of the myths comes down to the details. Achilles and his heel, Baldur and the mistletoe, Sutek and his dust. Gods live and die by symbolism, so we need to look for symbols we can work with. Just like in the ink bottle objects can house meaning. Were there any objects in that story objects that helped you? Objects? Well, there was a TV screen, the tortoise, a spoon. Hold up, a spoon? Yes, I needed real metal. Everything on that tortoise was a memory, a symbol, now that I think about it. But on one of the last surviving planets, I found this amazing woman. She gave me a spoon, even though it was all she had, so I made a promise. All she had? A promise? Well, it sounds silly now, but I told her that I will save the universe with a spoon. A spoon? Oh, God bless my Mr. Pie and his coffee break. And I do right now, Mr. Pie. The projectionist? What does he have to do with? Right. That was before I met you. when we first met, you asked me how I came to be, and I told you a trance of moonlight, of reflections and electricity. What I didn't mention was what I reflected of. You are kidding me. Never been more serious. Mr. Pie left a teaspoon on his desk while he went back to the projector, and the rest is coincidental cartoon history. A TV screen is where a cartoon lives. The TARDIS saved my life, and a spoon was critical to my manifestation. It all fits. Your line about saving the universe with a spoon wasn't just narratively relevant for the story. You were in a time. It was also foreshadowing. Exactly. I'm sure you've already noticed. But this universe has a deafy sense of humor. Nothing would surprise me less if somehow the metal from Mr. Pie's spoon somehow found its way into the spoon you used it. Or vice versa. History can be like that. You know, the wibbly wobbly timey wimmy? The fact that it was a sacrificial offering, something that represented all she had, makes that symbol and the promise that you made even more potent. The good news is this: all the borders, well, but it doesn't guarantee anything. If I had to fight Sutek right now, he'd kick my tiny knee with all that ink floating around. Just don't tell anyone. Admit that. Hey. What's up, Doc? Haha. Sorry, it's just out of this mean I didn't kill him. Yeah. I ain't that like the entire problem. Why do you sound relieved? Because I didn't. I never want to. I mean, to be all about life, figuring out an alternative universe. But I had thought I had to, but did I have to? If he isn't, but I still get over yourself. You're not meant to be some god of life. You're a doctor, the doctor. Doctors have to kill whatever is killing the patient. Bacteria, parasites, viruses, cancer. You even use weapon, poison, blades, fire, radiation. You do whatever it takes. Even if it ain't pretty well right now. And back then, your patient is the universe. And you're feeling pity for the pathogen. You made the decisions. You did, and you killed him. So maybe you didn't actually succeed, but you did put yourself through the action of doing it. That was real. Why did you do that, Doc? In order to save countless lives. All lives, all of life, all lives, all of life, through of all time. You really regret doing that, Doc? Of course not. Of course not. Now, quit crying, making me act weird. In fact, all this serious talk has me feeling positively loony. Why am I suddenly very afraid? You should be. Lex! What are you doing? Where are you taking us from? Don't care. Anywhere. All I know is that we gotta get going. But what about figuring out a plan about Sutek? Plan. This is the story, remember? An animated being like me can't stay in one place. We gotta go on adventures. We'll learn that we need to learn. Along the way, stories are thematic, educational, and fun. Trust the process, Doc. I'd trust it a lot more if you let me drive my own ship. Oh, fine. You'll land her. Thank you.